Hello everyone, my name is Rose Reevely. I'm a Vedic astrologer and I'm here today talking about the month of March. There is so much going on in the cosmos in the month of March. So I wanted to share some predictions and also some important information about what the planets are doing and how you can use that planetary energy to move things ahead in your life, or to also look at the best time to maybe research things and then look at the time to move ahead. So let's get started. On March the 5th, Mercury, the planet Mercury, Mercury is in charge of all communications. So this means the written word, the spoken word, basically most everything that we do throughout the day, texting, tweeting, all of this is Mercury's domain. So Mercury will retrograde, and this is the first retrograde for 2019. And I'll talk more about Mercury's retrograde in just a moment. The new moon follows Mercury's retrograde. The new moon is our time for a sort of clean slate. It's a time to focus on what you want to create more of in your life, what you want to manifest in your life. The sign for the new moon is Aquarius, and Aquarius symbols are important in astrology. The symbol for Aquarius is the man pouring water out of a pot. And this relates to the 11th sign of the natural zodiac. Aquarians are the humanitarians of the zodiac. They are full of ideas. They're scientifically minded, and they're futuristic and inventive. So this new moon is happening in the sign of Aquarius, and we'll see a lot of futuristic, and we're already seeing that, but you'll begin to see more of that surface during this time, and especially probably after this new moon, it will really start to come forward. So as I mentioned earlier, right before the new moon, Mercury retrogrades, and it retrogrades in the sign of Pisces on March the 5th. And just like we might expect, this is no ordinary Mercury retrograde. Even if you don't follow astrology, the chances are that you know or you're familiar that Mercury retrograde causes all kinds of snafus, I call them. It causes miscommunications to be misunderstood often, and that's the spoken word. But it also causes issues with electronics, and this can be anything from your computer to your car. So what you want to do is you want to be sure that you back up all of your devices, all of your systems. Be sure you back up your computer before this Mercury turns retrograde. Now, Mercury is going to be very beneficial for many areas in Pisces. First, this is an excellent time for working with your imagination, manifesting what you want. And manifesting is just simply focusing your mind and your thoughts on what you want to bring more of, or what you want to create more of in your life, and bringing it to you. Manifesting your desires becomes much easier when Mercury is in this constellation of Pisces. I'll explain. Mercury is in charge of our intellectual thinking, our thoughts, and our ideas. And so one of the most influential geniuses and creators of the 20th century was Albert Einstein. And he had his natal Mercury placement was in the sign of Pisces. So this gives you an idea of what I mean when I say Mercury in Pisces is the ability to think out of the box, okay? It's not the ordinary thought process. So thinking out of the box, like Albert Einstein, well, you can see how that can change everything. And this pertains to everyone in the world. It's not particularly just for any certain rising sign. Pisces is dreamy and imaginative. Think of it as it's the outermost constellation out there. So it's out there, right? And Mercury picks up this Pisces vibe of being, you know, out on the fringe, out on the edge. So it really helps to get out of the left brain analyzing, and you're switching here with Mercury and Pisces to the right brain creativity. So this is a wonderful placement for writers, coming up with unique topics, with grabbing people's attention in a different way. Musicians, entertainers, the arts in general, this is very good. Mercury's placement in Pisces, direct and retrograde. It frees up your mind, this out-of-the-box thinking. So overall, what this means to all of us is that we're going to be a little more open-minded whenever Mercury is in the sign of Pisces. If you are Gemini rising, this affects your 10th house, your house of career, the house of public status, you're getting out in the world. So if you are Virgo rising, Mercury rules the signs of Gemini and Virgo. If you are Virgo rising, this affects your 7th house. So this will have its effects with your spouse or your mate or your business partner if you have one. So it would be important for communication maybe to be really clear and concise during this time. Mercury retrograde also works on the subconscious level. And so we may all be receiving unusual downloads of information. These downloads coming from the cosmos. These downloads can be revealing. And when I say downloads, I'm also speaking of intuitiveness, where, you know, a thought or an idea hits you suddenly out of nowhere. The energy of the planet Mercury is intense at this time, okay? So one of the ways to work with this energy to help it help you is to spend some time in nature, and it can assist with this whole process. During Mercury retrograde periods, it is best to avoid purchasing electronic products. Avoid signing leases, or even if you're purchasing a home, if you can avoid or delay that signature on that signature line of commitment. Even having medical procedures done when Mercury is retrograde, I have found this to be really important. Mercury rules the connections, like the arteries and the veins, and even synapsing in the brain. These kinds of connections in the body, Mercury does affect. And so you want to, if you can, possibly delay that procedure or choose a time when Mercury is direct. I can't tell you how many times people have shared their Mercury retrograde story with me about the purchases that they make. And then I've also noticed myself that when I buy clothes during this time period, a funny thing happens when Mercury goes direct. I kind of look at the item and think, who bought that? I don't really recognize it as me. And so that tells you how our thinking is not the same as it was when Mercury is direct. And then last but not least, recheck your emails before you hit the send button. Communications just have a way of going amiss during Mercury's retrograde. So here's the best window of time for manifesting while Mercury is in the sign of Pisces, up until March 15th. So Mercury is a very busy planet the month of March, as you will see. Now don't worry, because don't fret, Mercury will re-enter Pisces direct on April the 12th. But the window of time during March is from the time that it enters into Pisces up until March 15th. And that will be the best time for manifesting and for really thinking out of the box and working and focusing on what it is that you want to create. Mercury will retrograde all the way back out of Pisces, and it's moving backwards into the sign of Aquarius on March 16th. Now here in Aquarius, it's going to get more serious, more focused, more scientific, more analyzing. So this window of time lasts from March 16th to March 27th. Now, this is the time that I say that when it's in this window of time, March 16th to the 27th, it's really probably a good time to be working on your taxes, and because it'll give you the ability to go back and look at documents and retrieve documents, all of the rewords, remember, retrieve, reorganize, all of these words apply whenever Mercury is retrograde. So Mercury will station on March 30th at 22 degrees. And when a planet stations, so we have another planet stationing this month too, Venus. But when a planet stations, it's as if it is saying, stop, pay attention. I have something important to say. And remember, again, Mercury rules all communications. So this is going to be huge in the information that will begin to come in and come through at this time. So, you know, when the retrograde periods happen, sometimes things go missing, like we misplace things more often. And that can even be, remember, Mercury rules communication, so it can be that communication gets lost or misunderstood conversations happen, or even just losing an important document. Usually anything that I misplace during Mercury's retrograde, I often find it when Mercury goes direct. Now, just remember, the reason to know astrology is to know when to do something, because timing really is everything. In March, we get both sides of Mercury. Gemini and Virgo, ruled by Mercury, will want to be on their toes, as Mercury is a ruling planet, and it does intensify and affect these signs because it is their ruling planet. And Mercury is a fast-moving planet, and just like the information that we get today or these days, we get bombarded with a lot of information coming in so fast that often something that might be important gets shelved because there's so much more coming in. On March 14th, Venus, the planet of love, romance, beauty, luxury, will station at 20 degrees of Capricorn. Remember what I just said about stationing. When a planet stations, it's saying, hey, stop, pay attention to me. If you have planets near the 20-degree placement in Capricorn, then there will be an issue that comes up for you concerning Venus. Venus represents so many things in our lives, and often we only think of it as just love. But it goes much deeper and beyond that, because Venus represents what we value, what we find value in. And it is definitely a relationship planet, the relationship planet, so it's important, very important to our lives. So it's likely that matters will come up around relationships or issues around relationships. In Capricorn, Venus is very businesslike. It is, in fact, in the sign of Capricorn, it can mean that business is what that person focuses on, or what that person loves, or they absolutely find enormous value in their business. It can also mean that work comes before the relationship. So you see, it goes back to what we value and what we find value in. Now, the really big show in astrology happens on March 23rd. And this is when the nodes, Rahu and Ketu, change signs. If you follow astrology, you know the nodes are not planets. They're an elliptical point in the sky. And they travel backwards or counterclockwise to the planets. So currently, Rahu is completing its last degrees in the sign of Cancer. And Ketu is completing its last degrees in the sign of Capricorn. Now, Rahu will move into the sign of Gemini. Ketu will move into Sagittarius. The nodes are often referred to as the shadowy planets, and that kind of gives you an idea of how they operate. Shadowy means we're not really sure, how this might unfold, but we have some really good ideas of what might happen. Rahu and Ketu are the karmic indicators in your chart. Everyone has them. And by karma, I mean that which is what we have brought into this life from past lives. And that what we have the chance in this life where we have, I feel, the opportunity to make certain corrections, right? So we have a lot of lessons right away, we know, that occur wherever Rahu and Ketu are in our chart. But for everyone, this karma does shift. Now, the nodes stay in a sign and transit every 18 months. So Rahu has been in Cancer for almost 18 months, and Ketu has been in Capricorn. So no one is really immune to the nodes. Again, we have them in our natal chart, and then they're about to shift. If you have personal planets in the sign of Gemini or the sign of Sagittarius, you will be in for some major changes over the next 18 months. When the nodes roll over or get close in degrees, usually this is about a 3-degree orb of a planet, this is when it opens up this karma, or it activates it. In fact, even if you don't have personal planets in the sign of Gemini or Sagittarius, you will experience these changes. Sagittarius represents the first house of, or the rising sign of the USA, and Gemini represents the 7th house. So the first house is our homeland. It's our homeland, this beautiful, wonderful country, the United States of America, where we live. And then Gemini represents the 7th house of our homeland, which represents our partners throughout the globe, throughout the world. And so already these changes we see are already in motion, but this is going to become more noticeable. In other words, our relationship with other countries is going to become more visible. We're going to probably get clearer and more understanding about how these relationships have operated in the past and how we are wanting them, or how our president is envisioning that relationship moving ahead. Rahu's transit through Gemini, we are going to see so many technological advances and changes. It's going to be something of a miracle, I think. Some of these technological advances and medicines, for example, have been hidden from us for a very long time. These are advanced and futuristic technologies that have really been around, probably some of them even for decades. And they're going to start to make their way into mainstream America. In some cases, we're going to be scratching our head trying to figure out why these technologies have remained hidden from the masses for so long. And my personal belief is that we are about to be catapulted into a whole new world. This is breakthrough technology. It's I think almost mind-blowing in some of the things that I've been reading, and very much too in-depth to go into in an astrology March video. But these are breakthrough technologies in medicine, in manufacturing, and energy. Ketu's transit to Sagittarius will bring an interest in all spiritual matters. People are going to be drawn to understand more deeply, more and have a more just a deeper understanding of all things of the metaphysical world. Of course, this excites me so much because astrology is part of that, and astrology can help. There is no one that astrology cannot help or benefit in some way in terms of self-understanding, in terms of understanding what you came to the planet to do, to work on, your soul purpose. It just is really exciting. It's an exciting time. So look for a return of the mystery schools and mystical expansion. Esoteric and occult. Occult is a word that just means secret. The meaning of the word means secret. Secret teachings are going to flourish again. Churches and organized religion will undergo major changes. Major changes here. Though much of this interest will be positive, we will also see the flip side of the coin on this. So we're going to see negative too. Cults will be on the rise, along with fanatical organizations, fanatical beliefs. It's going to be the opposite. Both sides of the coin. Many people will be shocked at what will become revealed during this time. And this covers all matters that deal with, unorganized religion and belief systems. Okay. The transit of Rahu and Ketu is seen as a huge event in the astrological world. This shift affects everyone. My predictions for this month are based on the transit. So remember that this transit is basically in effect for the next 18 months. And though you might not see these changes right away, if you have personal planets in the sign of Sagittarius or Gemini, you will definitely experience changes. Now, one last thing I want to add, and this is important, on March 29th, Jupiter, the great benefic, and Jupiter is the planet of wisdom. Jupiter is the guru planet, the teacher, and a planet of spirituality. And it's also the planet of luck and fortune. It will be in the sign of Sagittarius. It's going to, and Jupiter rules over Sagittarius. So this transit will give us a glimpse of the changes that it will make. We'll begin to see just a bit of the changes it's going to make with large religious institutions, with charitable organizations. Many of these organizations are going to come under scrutiny. Many organizations that have been charitable organizations and religious that have been set up to help people, or money that has flowed to them, these are going to come under scrutiny. In some cases, this does pertain, again, to the money that's been donated by the masses to help others, and has been donated in good faith. Jupiter will only be retrograde in Sagittarius until April 22nd, so this is brief. It's only about 3 weeks, around 3 weeks. So it will continue then. It's going to retrograde back into Scorpio, where it is now. And Jupiter will be retrograde in Scorpio most of the summer all the way up until August 11th. Now here's something important. When a benefic planet like Jupiter turns retrograde, it lessens its ability to do good. It lessens its ability to be beneficial. And plus, Jupiter is going to be somewhat stressed because it's what astrologers call Gandanta. And Gandanta is the knot. Gandanta means drowning. And so this pertains to both literally and figuratively. Gandanta occurs at the last 3 degrees of a planet in a water sign, in the first 3 degrees into a fire sign as it's going out of water into fire. And so a person can feel as if they are drowning. Okay, so this is remember, Scorpio is a water sign, and so this can represent either situation that and especially this will probably be very intense for the signs of Pisces and Sag, because they are ruled by Jupiter. Most especially I feel for Sag, because Jupiter now is going through their 12th house, so they are completing a cycle in their life. Sagittarius, if you are a rising sign Sagittarius, you are completing a cycle in your life. And so this time you might feel very intense during this time. And so you would need to take extra precautions. Okay? And so Scorpio is the water sign, as I was saying, and Jupiter is currently in the sign of Scorpio. And again, Gandanta represents a time of being or feeling out of control. And the world may seem to us or feel to us as if things have gone off the rails. And many people that I talk to now get a sense of this already. And so there will be a sense of feeling this. And again, the reason to know astrology is to know ahead of time so that you can plan. And even if you understand and know that these events are going to be unfolding, and that everything is somehow in divine order, okay? And that if we know in advance, we have a better sense of knowing what actions that we want to take. Now, I want to give you the sign predictions for March based on the nodes, okay? Based on the nodes. So this is where the planets are transiting for you. So this is not just for March. This means that this areas that I'm talking about for each rising sign. These are the areas that you're going to see changes for you over the next 18 months. Aries, your communication skills are going to definitely be upgraded in a most unusual way. Short distance travel will increase. That means you're going to be in your car more, probably commuting more. You may learn a new skill or an innovative way to communicate your knowledge. You will take a very unusual approach to your life over the next 18 months. Taurus, if your rising sign is Taurus, you'll benefit from foreign languages and from associations with foreign people. Unusual speaking opportunities may come to you. You can make money, increase your resources through a partner, and you can make money from other people's money. This is like a commission or a bonuses or something that works in this way. Gemini, you are focused on building personal power. You are going to have unusual ideas. It will be a good time to promote yourself and your interest. You may feel a lack in partner relationship, or you may end a partner relationship. Cancer, travels to foreign lands or working with foreign people are likely. A new approach to your healthcare regimen will be taken. Your everyday routine will change, and I might add, it needs to change. Working behind the scenes is very beneficial for you, Cancer. Leo, benefits from foreign friends. Unusual, profitable opportunities through your friends. Children show an interest in spiritual matters, and you may also feel distanced from your children during this time. Virgo, unusual career or career that involves foreign people or foreign lands. You could move to a foreign country. Your career will be busy and somewhat unpredictable. Technological advances help your career and your public status. Libra, short and long distance travels. You may be in your car more, commuting, moving about. You may have interruptions in travels. You will change your outlook on life, and you may become interested in an unusual topic. Scorpio, unusual speaking style could bring you additional income. You will enjoy foreign foods. This is a time you can build up your finances, you can learn a foreign language, and you can profit from other people's ideas. Capricorn, you have the ability to solve most any problem. Spiritual knowledge will both comfort you and bring you financial resources. Aquarius.